Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Go Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Ora Haribo, 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 Haribo. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jayom Vishnupada Paramahanta Paribhajacharya Ashto Tarasati Srimad Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Ki Janita Lila Vishnu Vishnupada Ashto Tarasati Srimad Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Thakur Prabhupada Ki Ananta Kuti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Karantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th Canto, 2nd Chapter, text number 35. Happy to be back here in Pune, one of the epicenters of brahmacharya and book distribution. So, very wonderful. Srila Prabhupada appreciated these two things. Of course, Srila Prabhupada appreciated everything about every devotee. But there were some things that Srila Prabhupada emphasized more. So that those who are able to do so can take it up. Just like book distribution, I've been emphasizing lately, before we began the verse, that we can expand book distribution unlimitedly. Of course, there are a few empowered persons, and I saw on our ICC chat that one devotee is offering to teach how to distribute so many Bhagavatam sets a day. And some may be able to do that, but not everyone. But what everyone can do is distribute one book a day. Everyone, all the congregation. And I've even extended that to once a week. So if everyone takes a solemn vow at least, I mean, not brahmacharis, of course, that's, that would be a little too deactivated, but if everyone in the congregation can promise to distribute one book a week, and then get the contact, or give your contact, and tell them, please let me know what you thought of the book. Most of them will reply positively, especially here in India. Other places you may not get the same result, but And then you invite them to do the same. You invite them to help us out, become a missionary, take part in the revolution of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, revolution of consciousness, Sangam Pangasta Parashadam, that our weapons are loving association, the most powerful force there is. Nothing's more powerful. And then you get in touch with them as soon as they say they like the book. Now you must have Bhagavad Gita. And then after that, especially in the period of the Bhadra Purnima from 15 March to 18 September this year, you encourage them to take a set of Bhagavatam and before the 18th of September to distribute one to someone else. Otherwise they have to get their program going of once a week and etc. And then it expands exponentially. And then you get then they have to have Chaitanya Charitamrita. And in that way everyone becomes Guru, which is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's order, not like an option. We have no options. In Krishna consciousness, there's no option. Only in material life, there appear to be options. And there are no options. Mama Vartmanu Vartate. Everyone's following Krishna's path. Nobody has options. But we think we have options. But we do have one option, either to be Krishna conscious or not. That option exists. And once you decide to become Krishna conscious, then you do have more options. You have more freedom. But within the consciousness of one who is surrendered, there's only one option, which is to serve Sri Guru and Gauranga and become spiritual master, because Lord Chaitanya said we must do it. So if we think like that, then it becomes very easy to distribute one book a week, one book a day, or more. If we really understand Lord Chaitanya wanted all of us, because once you begin to distribute Krishna consciousness, you have to hear more. You have to read more, be able to answer people's questions. If you get in touch with these people, they'll be asking questions. You have to be prepared. So, Lord Chaitanya has prepared this perfect formula, and Srila Prabhupada has made it practical for those of us suffering Kali Yuga, which is everyone that we know. Everyone. Of course, there's some devotees that may not be suffering, but everyone suffers. Even devotees, they suffer the pangs coming from the three modes of nature. Even though they may think that suffering is insignificant, they still suffer. So everyone must suffer. Just for a devotee, suffering is an opportunity to do more for Krishna. And for a materialistic person, it's something to avoid. And for a devotee, it's something to embrace and convert it into a learning experience. So anyway, now we'll go on to the Bhagavatam. So 7.2.35. Evam vilapitanam vai parigrihya patim anichchatinam nirharam arkustam sanyavartata evam vilapitinam vai parigrihya patim anichchitanam nirhanam arkustam sanyavartata evam vilapatinam vai parigrihya patim Anichchatinam nirharam Arkustam sanyavartata Evam vilapatinam vai Ajitatinam nirharam Arkusanyatavartate Amitabhatinam vai Vedam Anichtatinam niharam Vedam vidasate Vambilapatinam vai Parigrhyamitam patim Anichtatinam niharam Arkustam sanyavartata. Vaishnavis. Evam vilapatinam vai Parigrhyamitam patim Anijatinam niharam Arkustam sanyavartata. Evam vilapatinam vai Parigrhyamitam patim Anichitinam viharam Arkustam sanyavartata. Evam vilapatinam vai Parigrhyamitam patim Arkustam sanyavartata. Evam, thus, vilapatinam, of the lamenting queens, by, indeed, parigrihya, taking on their laps, mitam, the dead, patim, husband, anichchatinam, not desiring, nirharam, the carrying out of the body for the funeral ceremony. Arka, the sun, astam, the setting position. Sinyavartata, passed away. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. The time was appropriate for the body to be burned, but the queens, not allowing it to be taken away, continued lamenting for the dead body, which they kept on their laps. In the meantime, the sun completed its movements for setting in the west. Everyone can please repeat. The time was appropriate for the body to be burned. But the queens, now not allowing it to be taken away, continued lamenting for the dead body, which they kept on their laps. In the meantime, the sun completed its movements for setting in the west. Purports. According to the Vedic system, if a person dies during the daytime, it is customary for his funeral ceremony to be performed before the sun sets. Regardless of whether he is burned or buried, if he dies at night, the funeral must be completed before the next sunrise. Apparently, the queens continued lamenting for the dead body. the lump of matter, and would not allow it to be taken away for burning. This illustrates the strong grip of illusion among foolish persons who consider the body the self. Women are generally considered less intelligent. Because of ignorance only, the queens thought of the dead body as their husband and would remain as their husband, and somehow or other thought that if the body were kept, their husband would remain there with them. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Tadati Swa Padantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Astyatya Rishatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this is a basic Bhagavad Gita matter here. No, basic philosophy. That one is not the body. But first, I wanted to comment on the speaker. No, speaker here is Hiranyakashipu. No, we're learning from Hiranyakashipu. Of course, that's nothing unusual for Kali Yuga. No, we have imitation Hiranyakashipus. No, they're not as qualified, of course. No, Srila Prabhupada said one time that Maya's pure devotees are the scientists and the philosophers. So, as Prabhupada mentions here in this chapter, in the beginning of this dissertation or this speech by Hiranyakashipu, no. Now one may say, well, Hiranyakashipu is calming his lamenting mother and family members. And Krishna did the same thing to the survivors of the soldiers in the Battle of Kurukshetra. So what's the difference? Well, big difference. Because when Krishna speaks, everyone is enlivened. And when Hiranyakashipu speaks, everyone falls more into the bodily concept of life. Because we may speak philosophy, but what comes from the heart is what impacts the people. So what is the desire of Hiranyakashipu? To stimulate, although he's speaking apparently against the bodily concept, this whole thing is a lamentation about his brother. And after he finishes preaching, he wants to kill Vishnu. No? So this is typical, just like Kamsa. When Kamsa was reasoned with by Vasudeva, he thought, oh, he's such a noble person. Let me forget about it. But as soon as he got in the association again of his ministers who were demoniac, they said, that who knows, we can't trust these people. No, they may try to fool you, and then son will kill. We should kill all the children everywhere. Anyone born within the last so long, kill them, and then You eliminate the problem. Just like there was an AI experiment, just going to put this up, an AI experiment some time back where they asked an AI system that what is the solution for the problems of human society? And the answer was, exterminate them. So, very practical answer, So this is basically what we see here, that this is the logic of demons. The logic of a devotee, just like Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that if you have some affinity or some desire for logic, apply your logic to the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and you will find something very wonderful. Otherwise, what he's saying is that the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, goes beyond all logic. Tarko pratishtam, shutayo bibinam. Krishna consciousness goes beyond logic, it goes beyond religion. Except for that religion, pratyaksha bhagamo dharmam, Bhagavad Gita, Raja Vidya. That knowledge is perfect. That knowledge is the direct perception of religion. But speaking about general religiosity, shutaya bibinam, different varieties of religion. And Rishabhati, what's that? Yeah. Yes, the philosophers, Shapriyasyam Nabinam, every one of them has a different philosophy. Philosophers now, they generally take a little bit from different philosophers and put something together, and that's their philosophy. And somebody will take some of that and somewhere else and put that together, especially nowadays. Nowadays, very popular that you get this effect. So the point is that scientists, philosophers, they're empowered by Maya. Hiranyakashipu, he thinks he's independent because he has some knowledge. He thinks he's something great. But who is he speaking to? His audience, Srila Prabhupada, please excuse me. His audience says, women are less intelligent. Now what does that mean? Some women are less intelligent. Actually, everyone who's not a devotee is less intelligent, man or woman. Just like Einstein, he was considered to be so intelligent, but he couldn't accept Krishna as the supreme person. He accepted Krishna as like some manifestation of some great force that he accepted as that which is behind Bhagavad Gita, but he actually gave up the conception of God. Just like speaking about less intelligent women, Prabhupada always tells the story that the women, the wives of the soldiers, German soldiers in World War II, they prayed and they went to the churches and prayed, but their husbands didn't come home, so they stopped believing in God. So here is a German Jewish scientist who's less intelligent than the less intelligent women, because he's reading Bhagavad Gita. They weren't reading Bhagavad Gita. They were sentimental prayers in the church. But here is supposedly the most intelligent person who appreciated Bhagavad Gita, but as a philosophical text, not as Krishna's mercy. So, what is real intelligence? Tadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. Real intelligence is what Krishna gives us when we do two things. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam. When we're always connected with Him, and that connection is loving, full of loving sentiment, then Krishna gives us real intelligence. So what we're doing, just like we have the temple here, so many people come, so many people are getting books, and then they begin to awaken their real intelligence. And when real intelligence is there, the difference between man and woman doesn't exist. It only exists externally. Internally it doesn't exist. Because internally no difference exists. The only difference is what my particular rasa is with Krishna. Each one of us has a particular, just imagine how great it is. Like we may have certain personality characteristics that allow us to relate to different people in different ways. For Krishna can relate to unlimited living entities in unlimited ways, unlimitedly, eternally. Imagine a person, therefore a supreme personality. We can't even imagine the power of Lord Brahma, who can understand the thoughts of every living entity in the universe. He's that much of a brain. We appreciate someone when they may be a Shrutidar, or they may have some very unique mental or intellectual capabilities. But we just think about Krishna's consciousness, which is everything, encompasses everything, within unlimited universes. Imagine one person able to understand the thoughts of every living being in unlimited universes, and that's the minority. Then there's everyone in the spiritual world, everyone in the Vaikunthas, everyone in Goloka Vrindavan. So, and therefore, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, apply your logic and you'll find it only comes up to here. But if you want to know the truth, Mahajane Yenagata Sapanta, then you simply follow in the footsteps of the Mahajan. Of course, following in the footsteps of a Mahajan, you have to identify who is a Mahajan. And so, again, Srila Prabhupada was very practical, and Krishna is very practical. He sends us a Mahajan like Srila Prabhupada. And anyone who follows that Mahajan, we can follow that person. It's very simple. Otherwise, you try to figure out, try to look into somebody's heart and figure out, is this person a pure devotee? Will you be able to do it? But if we see someone is following the pure devotee, not only externally but internally. And how do we see that someone is following internally? Because they're living their life according to Shastra. They deal with others, just like our dealings. Sometimes I see, that devotees can be harsh, or people in general can be very harsh with one another. But that's not according to Shikshastika. Because manadena, if you respect someone, you must, just like I respect you very much, let me push you out of the way. With all loving respect, So, or with loving respect, I insult you with my words. And the Bhagavatam says that the most painful thing can be, which pierces the heart like arrows, are sharp insults coming from someone. Just like arrows into the heart. I remember like about 40 years ago, I had a dream, just a strange dream, that somebody was shooting arrows at me. Must have coming from some past life. And it was a very unpleasant experience. So anyway, so these ladies are holding the body of their husband. We've learned that the body is not so wonderful. It is wonderful in the sense that wonderful creation. Even scientists, with all of their technology can still not understand all the functions of mitochondria, which is a tiny little mechanism within the cell, like little fibers that do so many different things. They can't even understand that. They can't even understand the functions of a cell. But we think we have a tendency with our great intelligence to categorize everybody that we know, box them into a concept that my limited, but according to me unlimited intelligence is capable of. I got everybody figured out. So this is another aspect of manadena. Respect means understand they are spirit souls. Not just some external respect, I'm very courteous and please excuse me. No, real respect means I see this is an unlimited living being. Just like sometimes we see dogs in the street and we may go, and the dog will run away. But a devotee, even sometimes in Vrindavan, some of the great Vaishnavas, like Jagannath Das Babaji, he organized a feast for the dogs. He organized a feast. I have a picture here on the cell phone of not even a pure devotee, or they're having a feast for monkeys, like 25 monkeys, and they have plates, and all the monkeys are sitting there eating off the plate. So, it's a real funny little photo. But the point is that how far, sometimes we think, if I respect people too much, or if I tolerate them too much, then they'll take advantage of me. But if someone is destined to take advantage of you, it doesn't matter what you do, they will do it, and they'll be able to do it. So anyway, just wanted to make some points here. Now I'll go to now Srila Prabhupada gets into a little more Bhagavatam philosophy. They thought that the body would remain. We've actually such a conception of the self is certainly for Gokara, cows and asses. We have actually seen that sometimes when one's calf has died, the milkman cheats the cow by presenting before her the dead body of her calf. Thus the cow, who would not otherwise allow milking, licks the dead body of the calf and allows herself to be milked. So we all love the cows, but the Bhagavatam uses the cow as an example of not so intellectually inclined. And here's an example. A cow can be fooled. Srila Prabhupada spoke one time about cows being fooled in a very perverse way. He said the cow is so loving that she, they have these, this folds of skin under their neck. We all like, and they like to be petted. They're so trusting that they allow you to pet their, and then people cut their throats. It's how horrible. This, and Prabhupada was indicating the cow is made this way to show what it means to be surrendered. That surrender means you put your entire existence into the hands of hopefully a qualified person. Now people are surrendering to Hiranyakashipus, and not even good ones. At least this Hiranyakashipu had good philosophy. The imitation Hiranyakashipus of Kali Yuga, they don't even have good philosophy. Some of them are philosophers, but not even as good as Hiranyakashipu. So, but almost everyone is surrendered. Sometimes, unfortunately, devotees are also surrendered to this. Social media, the Shastra of demons the Shastra of fools. And sometimes devotees fall victim. Check out social media, see what it offers. Sometimes young people, they take their guidance. Just like when I was young, they used to call television the one-eyed guru, and people would accept, anything that appeared on television. When I was a young brahmachari, I was visiting my family, and just amazing because I wouldn't watch television, but I was sitting there, and they had a program that came on in Italy, and people were going out in the fields, and they came to these trees, and they were cutting the vines of these trees. And what kind of trees were they? Spaghetti trees. And they were cutting the spaghetti, taking it, drying it in the sun, and then packaging it in packages. And the amazing thing is, because they published this afterwards, it was an experiment. Only about, this was like shown to millions and millions of people, and only about 25,000 people complained that spaghetti doesn't grow on trees. You produce it with flour, you produce it with wheat or some other flour. But so many people are so bewildered by this apparatus, and anything that appeared on it must be true, that they just accepted those spaghetti trees. And so social media sometimes influences devotees. Srila Prabhupada said that I have come to know that we are supposed to teach others by our example. We are supposed to influence them, not allow them to influence us. We'll be speaking about this tomorrow to the youth. That such a dangerous thing. That's why association with Vaishnavas is so important, and that's why hearing the Bhagavatam, just like it's speaking about this cow. I'll just go on with the purport. This substantiates the description of the Shastra that a foolish man in the bodily concept of life is like a cow, only on the intellectual platform, because cows are very loving. Not only do foolish men and women consider the body the self, but we have seen that the dead body of a so-called yogi was kept for several days by his disciples, who thought that their guru was in samadhi. When the decomposition began, and a bad smell unfortunately began to overwhelm the yogic power. Otherwise, the yogic power, the body was sitting up, it got so decomposed, it fell over. And disciples allowed the dead body of the so-called yogi to be burned. Thus, the bodily concept of life is extremely strong among foolish persons who are compared to cows and asses. Nowadays, great scientists are trying to freeze dead bodies so that in the future these frozen bodies may again be brought to life. One famous American, Walt Disney, he got cancer. And at that time, he died in the early 1960s. So this technology supposedly of freezing, so he had himself frozen. Now he was very wealthy. So some of his family members thought that, if they unfreeze him after they get a cure for what he has, then we won't get any inheritance. So they unplugged him. And sometimes people can be very nasty about inheritances. So he didn't get a chance to be revived. The incident narrated by Hiranyakashipu from history must have taken place millions of years ago, because Hiranyakashipu lived millions of years ago and was even then quoting from history. Thus, the incident occurred even before Hiranyakashipu's lifetime. But the same ignorance in the bodily concept of life is still prevalent, not only among laymen, but even among scientists who think they will be able to revive frozen corpses. Apparently the queens did, this is very interesting, Prabhupada ends this purport. Apparently the queens did not want to deliver the dead body for burning because they were afraid of dying with the dead body of their husband. So, we always hear about sati, but it wasn't like every queen or was ready to do this. They were thinking, let's preserve the body because as long as the body, we don't have to burn. And so they were attached to their bodies. Actually, the sati was before Kali Yuga. It was prominent among certain classes of people, very qualified Brahminical ladies, or because their husband was their guru, was their everything, and they could not stand to live without their husband. So, but of course, as Srila Prabhupada said, they outlawed it because the women didn't want to do it anymore, and they were throwing them into the fire, thinking that this is very important. And I'm mentioning this because sometimes our Krishna consciousness is like throwing the body into the fire, meaning that we're doing something, but we're not doing it with full consciousness. We're not doing it with full surrender. And if we do it, if we practice Krishna consciousness like that on the external platform, going through the motions, going through the mechanisms, but not feeling the essence. The essence is to please Krishna. The essence is to develop pure devotional service so that I can offer the best possible service to Krishna. If we don't come to that point of understanding like that, and I will conclude, I might have mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again, how strong the bodily concept is. Speaking of intelligent people. So I was in Dallas, Texas, USA, and one professor came to the Sunday feast and he wanted to speak to me. And I could see him struggling through the class, because he's a real intellectual. So he said, Swamiji, why does Prabhupada, he said, I've read all of Prabhupada's books. He said, I got to a certain point though, I forget which 7th or 8th canto, I had to stop reading because he keeps saying you're not this body. Why does he say that so much? It's obvious we're not this body. I mean, it's obvious. Okay, I heard it so many times. And I said, so I saw he had some cigarettes in his pocket. I said, can you give me that pack of cigarettes? He was like, what, Swami wants to smoke? No. So I said, look here. It says, caution, cigarette smoke may be hazardous to your health. I said, how many times have you read this? No. Oh, many, many times. I said, yes, but you're still smoking? No. He said, oh, okay, now I understand. So we also have to be careful that we don't go to class and we think, oh, so-and-so doesn't know as much as I do. I've been around for the last 20 years. He's only been a devotee for 3 years. What can I learn from him? And so we shouldn't think like that. We should think that, let me hear. Shrinvatam swakata Krishna punya shravana kirtanam. Because swakata Krishna, anything we hear about Krishna or Krishna consciousness, is punya shravana kirtanam. It is the most auspicious hearing and chanting. It doesn't matter who it comes from. Srila Prabhupada, many times, he would sit, especially in Vrindavan, he would sometimes come and sit in the class and listen to the devotees. And devotees would feel they get very nervous also. Like Prabhupada sits down in your class, you're being examined. It's like, X-ray, philosophical X-ray. But generally speaking, Prabhupada would not say anything. He just wanted to see. He wanted to see what he had to do to make the devotees understand the philosophy. Even in the first time Srila Prabhupada went to India, he had the devotees speak with Janmashtami, or I forget which festival. I think it was Janmashtami. He didn't give the class. He called on different devotees to speak. And they were very new. They'd been in Krishna consciousness for 6 months. But they were speaking very nicely. And Prabhupada was very happy that they were learning. So this is the point. We should want to make Srila Prabhupada, Sri Guru, the Vaishnavas very happy by giving our lives to Krishna, by giving our ability to speak about Krishna, by giving our ability to hear carefully about Krishna, and avoid this Hiranyakashipu / cow / ass / social media tendency to hear from the wrong person or the wrong thing and have the wrong mentality. Because everything in Krishna consciousness, and that's why Srila Prabhupada calls it Krishna consciousness, is a matter of consciousness. It is reforming your consciousness so that it's focused on Krishna. And therefore we should examine, how much is my consciousness focused on Krishna? That should be our desire, our intention. How much am I focused on the Supreme Personality of Godhead? And then we can avoid this. So this purport, even when I read it, I thought, everybody already knows this. What am I going to say? Everybody, we all know these things. But do we realize them? No. We know it theoretically. We know it all makes sense, on the intellectual platform. But are we living? Are we living it? And therefore Srila Prabhupada repeats here all the way in the 7th canto, repeats such a basic understanding, because we need to hear this again and again and again. And we need to reflect, how much am I actually understanding Krishna consciousness? So these are some thoughts on this verse. If anyone has a comment or question. Here's one B.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for this wonderful class and reminding of a very important point, because at this particular section, of course, this kind of thought comes, it's the 7th canto, we have heard it so many times. This is a simple concept. So you're making a profound statement that we know it intellectually, but we have not realized it. How do we traverse that journey? Because somewhere when we intellectually memorize or understand the concept, it feels like as if we know it. But in action, how does this journey of intellectually into a practical action? How do we this knowledge translates into a realization? Just like the concept of we're not this body, but a spirit soul. So theoretically we know it. Maybe we have memorized shlokas, whatnot, but what it means in action.
We should, whenever we see Krishna consciousness manifested in a devotee's thoughts, words, and deeds, then we should associate with them. Then Krishna reveals. I've always seen, when I associate with very Krishna conscious people, that Krishna reveals my lacking. If you associate with the desire to learn and the desire to understand, then Krishna will reveal. And that's most, I've found, of course, you can do the same when you're hearing. We should not think, because what is Krishna's Krishna is not interested in what we know or what we do or what we give, but he's interested in what we're holding back. And he's always giving us different lessons and putting us in circumstances to understand that. But if we don't understand it, if we evaluate ourselves with our own intellect, then we won't make much advancement. And that's why association is so important. Because I've always found that, associating with devotees who have wonderful Vaishnava qualities, it's like Krishna reveals, they do something or they say something, and it reveals how I'm not perceiving things in the proper way, or I'm not understanding things in the proper way. I found that this the best way. Of course, Prabhupada's books, but this is the importance of humility. Humility is not just some external, how I externally present myself. Like I offer obeisances, I offer dandavat, stay down for 1 minute, and then I'm really humble. Sometimes I say, we have to be careful not to be proud of our humility. So, but when you see real humility manifested in someone who actually possesses it, it impacts the heart. You see, this is real humility. Just like I always mention, that Arjuna humbly killed hundreds of thousands of people with great humility. And he did because he didn't want to kill anyone. But Krishna said, "This is what I want." And so he immediately did it. Yudhishthira even less. But because Krishna wanted it, they did it. And so, anyway, this is the point. I also, in the 10th canto, in one of Brahma's prayers, he prays to Krishna Gunatma, that Krishna, you are Gunatma. You are the Atma of all the gunas, all qualities. So therefore, qualities are abstract until you see them manifested in some way. Just like if we never understood intellectual, the idea of intellect, it's an abstract until you see it manifested in oneself or another person. So Krishna is Gunatma. He's the essence of all good qualities. And therefore when we hear about Krishna's qualities, and then we see devotees emulating those qualities, then it becomes very apparent what I'm lacking. Because that's what we should always be interested in. What am I lacking? Not what do I have. If I'm interested in what I have, then I'll become proud. If I'm interested in what I'm lacking, then I will become humble.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you Maharaj for those wonderful points. Maharaj, one question came in mind when that point mentioned by Srila Prabhupada, that the ladies in World War II, they prayed in church that may our husbands come back. And when they didn't come back, then their faith completely gone from God. So Maharaj, this is very like natural now. If somebody is praying to Lord something, and if he is with this conception that Lord will help because he help everyone, so if he is not helping, let's say apparently or the way they want, then faith goes down. So what should a devotee do in such cases? They are praying and not getting reciprocation from Lord.
Yes, well, just like at the end of the purport, Srila Prabhupada makes the point, this happened this story happened millions and millions of years ago, showing it can take, even after millions of years, it's not like humanity learns something. Just like under the false concept that we're learning, through history. Now we've got everything figured out through technology. No, they're in the same ignorance. Even worse, because war in Ukraine, war in Gaza Strip, conflicts everywhere, people killing one another, people hating one another because of their religion. This person's religion, they have a bad religion, or against Krishna consciousness, or against this or that. So with all the technology and all the concern for suffering humanity, it's all because it's all based on the bodily concept. Nothing ever changes. Just some externals, they change. So it's no wonder that people give up religion or give up their conception of God, Krishna, whatever, or people lose their strength in Krishna consciousness because they don't understand Krishna. They really haven't understood Krishna. They've understood Krishna intellectually, but they haven't understood Krishna's greatness within the heart. That's why when we hear Krishna's pastimes, we should also hear the philosophy. Hear philosophy, hear pastime, hear philosophy, hear pastimes. Because too much just pastimes, people take it cheaply. And so there has to be philosophy together with. That's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur took all of Krishna's pastimes and explained different anarthas, Krishna killing demons. And, we see that our acharyas, they take Krishna's pastimes and they extract some deep philosophical points from each one of his pastimes, so that people don't just think it's stories. A lot of stories about, Krishna doing this, and he's just like me. Oh yes, I also like that. I'm also like that. Oh, when I was a kid, oh yes, my son also throws yogurt on breaks pots of yogurt or whatever. So, he must be like Krishna. So, although it seems exaggerated, but people actually start thinking like that in the back of their minds. They're comparing themselves to Krishna and not seeing very much difference. Oh, Radha Krishna. Just like one time, and I'll finish with this because it's getting a little late. I was in Venezuela, and I was just getting ready to give a class after Kirtan. So someone brought this couple over, and this is so-and-so Das and his wife. They've been devotees for a long time, but they were with another group, kind of became a Sahaja group of devotees that evolved or involved or devolved. And so I said, so can you stay for the class? No, we're going to the movies. We're going to a romance movie because it reminds us of Radha and Krishna. I said, okay, Hare Krishna. I think you should definitely go to the movie. I think that would probably be the best thing for you. I didn't say that, but I was thinking. So, they had read Prabhupada's books. But some, by hearing too many intimate pastimes, their intelligence just completely lost. So we shouldn't think that, that can't happen to me. When I was 11 years old, I was in a car and we drove by an accident on the road, and I saw the people laying on the road, bleeding, and I was thinking in my mind, I remember this that can't happen to us. I'm here safe in my car because this is my father and my mother, and this can only happen to other people. So sometimes we, even as devotees, think like that. Oh, I'm a devotee, I know better. But when you think stita dhuli sadrisham vichindaya, when you think like that, I'm just an insignificant atom, totally dependent on the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas. Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita. I have to remain totally surrendered under these 5 shelters. And so that will prevent our ignorance.
Hare Krishna. So I wanted to introduce Maharaj at the beginning, but the number of devotees were less at that time. Now I think I can do it briefly, Maharaj, just a couple of minutes. So His Holiness Guruprasad Maharaj was born in USA, and he studied nuclear physics at Purdue University. It's a very famous university in US, Purdue University. And although he was a student of physics and science, he was completely disenchanted with the studies in University of, and then he went to University of Texas. That's where he met the HareKrishna devotees there. And he had actually joined military service at Panama. So from being in American Army, he came to Lord Chaitanya's army after that. And then he was initiated by Srila Prabhupada in 1976 at Mayapur Vrindavan Festival. And in 1982, Maharaj was awarded the sannyas initiation. And in the early stage of his services, he was in ISKCON, Costa Rica, where he was doing administrative service and distributing Prabhupada's books, publications. And in 1975 onwards. Then 76 to 78, he was in Central America, and he became a president of Costa Rica Temple in 1978. Then he started traveling around Latin America. He started opening many temples in different places. And he was also collaboratively rendering service in administration of ISKCON in many of the temples. And in 1987, he was made the member of GBC with various zonal assignments in Tucson area of Arizona and Mexico. And he's co-zonal secretary for many areas like Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras, Panama, Belize, Costa Rica, Nicaragua. Probably my spelling may not be appropriate, my pronunciation. Colombia, Trinidad, Tobago, and Venezuela, and all these places. And Maharaj is one of his most favorite activities to assist the devotees in cooperating and harmoniously working with each other in their own respective places. So in that connection, Maharaj was also sent by ISKCON GBC to India to travel around and know the Indian Yatra here. So many years Maharaj has been traveling in India, and His Holiness Gopalakrishna Goswami Maharaj was very deeply appreciating His Holiness Guruprasad Swami Maharaj's personality and his qualities and his very Vaishnava characteristics. Even before he came here, Paramahansa Gopalakrishna Maharaj has told us about it. So recently, before His Holiness Gopalakrishna Maharaj left home back to Godhead, he requested him, Guruprasad Maharaj, that he please take charge of many of the areas, like in NCR and other places. In Pune also, it's a very big shelter for us. You know, it was a big loss not to get the association of His Holiness Gopalakrishna Maharaj in Pune. So when we were feeling a vacuum at that time, Paramahansa Gopalakrishna Maharaj has sent His Holiness Guruprasad Maharaj to give his association to us. And he came for the book distribution festival also. He came, gave the prizes to devotees, and now he told us at that time he had to fly back very fastly. This time he has come for 3 days. Yesterday he gave a beautiful brahmachari class on brahmachari ashrama. Today morning class here, and tomorrow morning class in Kunjaberi temple. Tomorrow evening in here back, correct, no? Today evening also in Kunjaberi temple. So today evening and tomorrow morning in Kunjaberi temple, and tomorrow evening here, youth festival. So Maharaj also is taking a very big responsibility now in ISKCON, which is ISKCON GBC has got almost 40 GBCs board, in which Maharaj is a part of not only the EC, we call it GBC EC. EC is the executive committee of 3 members, and Maharaj is actually leading that EC also. He is a chairman of ISKCON GBC this year. So he has a lot of responsibility. He has a GBC EC service as a chairman, plus along with that he is also traveling around to the areas of Paramahansa Gopalakrishna Maharaj and meeting devotees, offering his shelter and guidance. And we are very blessed in Pune. We would like to thank Maharaj with 3 Hari Bols. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! And Maharaj is very particular about one thing which I want to share with you, which Maharaj may say in today, tomorrow classes. Maharaj was telling about this Narsing Arati. One should know proper pronunciation of the Sanskrit words. Maharaj, you can tell that Bahir Narsing, you can tell the word.
Which one?
The Narsing Arati.
Ah, yes.
Bahir.
Ito nisingha, parato nisingho, yato yato yamitato nisingha, bahir nisingho, vidaye nisingho.
Yeah, when it should be ho, when it should be ha. We should know the difference. So I was telling in America what they do, in all the temples they have two screens in front of the altar. One for the Mataji side, one for Prabhuji's side. They display the everything, Mangalarti, Narsingharti. They are very, very strict about pronunciation. They properly pronounce.
Not every temple, a few temples.
Few temples. Whenever temples have that. So last time Maharaj said to me, I said a few devotees, but today morning when he was hearing, he told me again. So I thought it will be nice if you hear that. That was one thing Maharaj said. Another thing, he was telling in Guru Puja, the tunes which we sing, many fancy tunes are being sung. He was telling also one of the visits earlier. The tunes generally in Gaudiya line, you all know what type of tunes we sing. Traditional, devotional, classical tunes we sing in Gaudiya line. They are more wanted. And in Guru Puja, if it becomes like some kind of cinema tune or fashionable, some fancy tune, it is not very good. So when he came, one of the previous year visits, at that time he had put a word to me. So I will also request Maharaj in one of the classes, what are some of the traditional tunes that in Prabhupada's times devotees would sing? You could kindly also share with the devotees, and then devotees will pick up that also.
What the Prabhupada would sing?
No, in Prabhupada Guru Puja, you remember Prabhupada Guru Puja, devotees were singing some fancy tunes.
The tune?
What do you call it? Huh? HareKrishna singing. Like in the Guru Puja, after the Prabhupada Guru Puja is over, then the last part we sing HareKrishna.
Yeah.
In the devotees sing many fanciful.
Yeah. Oh, well, no, Prabhupada said just Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Hare Krishna. And Prabhupada said, then they asked about songs of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and Prabhupada said, they are authorized, but still, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Hare Krishna. And so this is our kirtan. We see Prabhupada in kirtan, he wouldn't chant anything else except the Maha Mantra. And of course, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, beginning, and you'll never see Prabhupada chanting anything else. He would chant bhajans, so many different bhajans. But during kirtan, because we should understand that kirtan means, it means kirtaniya sadahari, we're chanting the holy name of Krishna. And so Prabhupada does say in Chaitanya Charitamrita that you can chant Haraye Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Gopal Govindar. So sometimes I chant that one time. But it's not that sometimes it seems like people get bored after 2 or 3 minutes chanting the Maha Mantra, have to chant something else, But so we should be so attached to chanting the holy name. Haridas Thakur, 300,000 names. And so it's not like, you can chant so many different things, but it's not like we need this variety of chanting. They just chant the Maha Mantra. And this is Prabhupada's example.
And it was very beautiful to hear from Maharaj about yesterday also and today also I felt some very specific points he brought out. Today he was telling about Disney in his body kept in the freezer, hoping to revive it back. Although modern man is so educated, so-called educated, how ignorant and foolish he is with respect to body and soul. He was telling about that. So Einstein was the genius of the century, but he didn't know the personality of Godhead. So one of the things I find in Maharaj's lectures is he's very specific in his examples he gives and brings out very vital points. Yesterday he was telling that a devotee who is, he was telling about Abhidaya and Prayojana. Prayojana is simplicity, he was telling. So in Abhidaya we render the devotional services, in Prayojana you go to the platform of simplicity. So I feel that Maharaj brings very, very rare pastimes of Prabhupada and also very rare teachings which are like pearls strewn in his lectures as we keep very attentively hearing him. So thank you, Maharaj, for your valuable association. Please keep visiting us like this, and as many times as you can in a year. Whenever you come to India, you can always keep Pune as your main station. Please do come. Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Bol! So Guruprasad Swami Maharaj ki
Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hare Bol.